Every gardener knows the frustration of weeds. They creep in, compete with your crops, and steal the nutrients you've carefully built in your soil. Many turn to weed killers for a quick fix, but those chemicals do more harm than good, leaving the soil lifeless and harming the very organisms that help plants thrive. After trying cardboard barriers, straw, and even store-bought weed suppressants, I discovered that the real answer wasn't in a spray bottle at all. It was in a method of layering mulch that not only stopped weeds, but also kept slugs from taking over. The solution didn't cost me anything extra, and it left my soil richer each season. Why do weeds thrive when soil is bare? Weeds are nature's first responders to bare soil. Whenever ground is exposed, weed seeds germinate rapidly to cover it. They do this because soil life is vulnerable without protection. If you leave open spaces around your vegetables, weeds will fill them. The key is not to fight weeds with sprays, but to outcompete them with cover. Mulch is the most effective way to do this because it shades the soil, holds moisture, and creates a barrier weeds cannot easily break through. But traditional mulching methods can bring their own problems, especially slugs, which hide under damp layers of straw or leaves and chew through tender seedlings overnight. That's why the way you layer mulch makes all the difference. Now, how does the right layering prevent slug damage? Slugs thrive where they can find damp, compact mulch sitting directly against stems. If mulch is laid in one thick mat, it creates the perfect hiding place. The trick is to create mulch layers that mimic natural forest floors but keep the top layer drier. The first layer should be something carbon-rich and absorbent, such as shredded paper, dry grass, or even finely torn cardboard. This acts as a sponge and a barrier. On top of that, add a layer of semi-rotted compost or aged manure. This provides food for microbes and releases nutrients slowly. The final top layer should be coarse, dry mulch, such as wood chips or partially dried leaves. This upper layer dries quickly after watering or rain, which slugs avoid, while the lower layers keep soil moist and biologically active. Now, when it comes to building a slug-free mulch bed, there's a simple ratio that really works well. That's 2 parts of a dry carbon layer, 1 part nutrient-rich compost, and 1 part coarse top layer. For example, you'll want to cover a 4-foot bed with a 2-inch base of shredded paper or cardboard strips. Next, add a 1-inch layer of compost or aged manure, spreading it out nice and even. Finally, just top it all off with 1 inch of dry leaves mixed with wood chips. Always remember to keep the mulch an inch away from plant stems so slugs and other pests don't have direct access. This structure, honestly, it feeds the soil while making the surface quite unappealing to slugs. The base stays moist for worms, the middle feeds up all those microbes, and the top dries out enough to discourage pests. So why does this method outperform chemical weed killers? Well, weed killers might burn back unwanted plants for a bit, but they leave your soil exposed and, frankly, weaken all those beneficial fungi and bacteria. Layered mulch, by contrast, not only smothers weed seeds, but also enriches your soil each season. Over time, the bottom layer breaks down into humus, improving soil tilth and water retention. Instead of ending up with lifeless ground that depends on constant spraying, you build soil that resists weeds naturally. The added bonus is fewer pest problems, since beneficial insects thrive in healthy mulch systems and help control slugs from below. The long-term results of layering mulch correctly, well, after 1 season of using this method, the difference was clear. Weeds were minimal, really just a few scattered sprouts you could pull in seconds. Slug damage, which had once wiped out whole trays of young lettuce, dropped to almost nothing. The soil beneath the mulch became darker and looser, full of earthworms and casting-rich pockets. By the 2nd year, I no longer needed to dig or till before planting. Seeds germinated straight through the soft surface and moisture stayed consistent even in dry spells. What began as a strategy to replace weed killer turned into, honestly, a complete soil-building system. Now, how can gardeners adjust this to their own space? The exact materials can be adapted depending on what's available. In rural gardens, straw and wood chips are often abundant. In urban areas, shredded office paper, cardboard and coffee shop compost scraps can serve the same role. The principle is always the same: a dry, absorbent base, a nutrient middle, and a coarse, drying top. Adjust the thickness according to your climate. In wetter regions, keep that top layer especially coarse and thin so it dries quickly. In drier climates, you can go a little heavier to lock in more moisture. Once you understand that weeds are simply a response to bare soil, it becomes clear why sprays are never the true solution. Layered mulch, when built properly, solves the weed problem, builds fertility, and creates a system where slugs are no longer a major threat. It works with nature instead of against it, and the results only improve with time. For serious gardeners who want a sustainable and low-effort approach, this method is honestly the answer. If you found this guide useful and want to keep learning practical soil-saving techniques, make sure to subscribe to Hydrohaven and share this video with fellow gardeners. Together, we can replace chemicals with living systems and grow gardens that thrive season after season.